One of the things that I've really been experimenting with lately is my nervous system and creativity. How is creativity helping my nervous system calm down, relax, release some of my anxiety? And honestly, just 15 to 30 minutes of drawing is really doing that for me lately. So, hi, hello, my name is Mackenzie, and this is Big Love Studio. And today we're going to be making some art together. And before you run away, this class is for everybody. This is for anybody who wants to just get out of their head and into their body and release and relax your nervous system a little bit. So we're gonna do that together. You don't need any special supplies. And I mean that. I know that we're creating some art here, but you can have some paint. If you have some paint, you can use crayons or markers that maybe are your kids' crayons and markers. You can use pen and just doodle the whole time and create some shapes with different pens or Sharpies that you have in your house. You can honestly even rip up some junk mail that you have and paste it onto the paper with some glue. That's also beautiful. Even if you don't have glue, you can just rip it up and arrange it, and that will be enough to heal or to help your nervous system right now, just to relax a little bit. If you need to, you can pause this video and just go grab a sheet of paper or in something to create with today. Even if you're embroidering or sewing, that's beautiful too. We can just be here together. So I'm super excited to get started. Let's do this. Sometimes when we go into something, we might already be in our head, so it's kind of harder to get into the body. This is a practice that I like to do, is just shake the body and pat the body. Patting the body, shaking the body, and just creating feeling in your body is really good for getting out of your head. You can do this anywhere. In line at the grocery store, people might look at you, but I've done it before. So people have looked at me longer. But you can just start to pat yourself and take some big deep breaths all the way down into your diaphragm, into your belly. Maybe get onto your head as well. Light fingers. So you're not doing anything hard. And make those breaths all the way down into the base of your lungs. And you can scrunch your shoulders up next to inhale. Sticking out your tongue actually activates your vagus nerve. I learned this recently. So sticking out your tongue when you exhale is activating that vagus nerve, which helps just relax your nervous system. Oh, my yoga students will remember that from yoga class. Beautiful. All right. I think we're ready to get going really now. So let's get to that paper. The first thing that I want you to remember with this potentially intimidating blank page is that the end result does not matter. I'm going to say that again. The end result does not matter here. What matters is that you are here and you are creating. That's it. That's all you need to know. And the first thing that I like to do, because blank pages can be a little bit intimidating to me, is just to get some color onto the page. So I'm going to pick a color. And actually, before that, I'm going to put on my gloves because I would rather have the gloves on with the paint and such. but you are just here to explore and create. So the end result of this is not the point. We're not creating masterpieces, although you might stumble into one, but that's how you create a masterpiece, I think, is you stumble into it. So I'm just gonna put some ink right on the paper. And I like to do this when I'm making something new, because how am I trying to say this? I just like something to be on the paper first, and then I can do something with that. You might have a specific idea of what you're drawing, and that's really wonderful, but this is for the people who are like, oh, I hate a blank page. This is really intimidating. Doesn't have to be. Now we already made the mark, so we're already going. This is great. So we're just gonna keep going from here. This is actually watercolor ink, or just watercolor in general, but I use it like I use the ink, same exact way. It's a really bright watercolor. You can use, like I said, you can use whatever you have. It doesn't have to be these things. This is just what I'm using today. And as you go, maybe you flip around your paper. Maybe you're like, wow, I actually like it the other way too, you know? And often I like these little light, curious lines where I roll my crayon or my pastel around, because I like to add some of that curious feeling into my work. And you might be at a different place today where you're feeling like you want to add some big swatches of color, or you want to make some more like aggressive marks where you're feeling frustrated by something and you're trying to move that energy out of your body. I want you to feel free to make whatever marks feel good to you on this page. This is about your expression, not about what anybody thinks about it. So, what kind of colors are you being drawn to in this moment? How are they showing up on the page? Lately, I'm really into like reds and oranges and yellows, pinks. There are a lot in my work. And maybe, so see how I have all this paint here? Sometimes I like to make some different marks with those and see kind of what happens with that. Get curious here. Oh, this is another favorite lately too. Fluorescent pink. I love it. And you can just notice what colors you're being drawn to. What things are kind of coming out or how they're coming out for you. Are you making little patterns? Are things blending together where you didn't think they would blend together? Are you feeling like you need to move some bigger energy? So that's coming through in a different way. That is also fine. And we're noticing without judgment. This is a thing that is very important in this practice, is we're noticing without judgment. Like all of that spilled in there, I'm obviously like doing something here that I am feeling like I want to control a little bit, but then I can't control all of it. So noticing how that feels in your body when that doesn't work the way that you thought it would. Is that really frustrating to you, or are you just kind of okay with it? So this is kind of a fun thing. Making these dots and then taking a scraper and scraping. Whew, that's fun. That's a fun thing. I like it. And do I like how all these colors are combining? I don't know, but this is part of the experiment. It doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't have to be that I'm picking out all of my colors ahead of time, although you might like to do that. My process is really about exploring and experimenting and seeing like what's here today. Maybe some of that feels annoying, maybe the fact that those colors blended together feels frustrating to you. That's okay. Whatever's here is fine. All I'm asking you to do is be with it and explore it. And, the nice thing is you can just keep it moving forward because we got more painting to do. We have more colors to put on. So we notice and we keep it moving. I'm feeling like I want to put a different kind of color on here. Maybe a magenta. How about that? And feel free to always turn your paper around. Maybe there's a part you like and a part that you're feeling frustrated with. And you might want to just cover that whole thing up. That is totally okay. Once again, this is not about judging ourselves. This is not about making something look a certain way. This is just about having some exploration of where you're at today. You might be having the biggest blast. And I love that so much. And you might be frustrated by what's coming up on the paper. And I love that too, because you're here and you're exploring it and you're with it. Know that you can try different marks. And you might get to a point where you're saying, I thought I liked this. Maybe it is not working for me totally like I thought it would. So maybe I want to cover some of that up. And you can do that with whatever you have. I'm using acrylics, and because I like how acrylics will mostly cover a surface or just drastically change it. Love a little bit of change there. And maybe I want to add those colors in different parts with different sizes or shapes. Maybe you want to go in with a little bit more detail somewhere. So for me, how do I want to do that? I am interested in going in with some different detail and getting a little bit more specific. I'm choosing my materials. Sometimes it takes a minute to see what's calling to you. Let's use some markers here. Ooh, I like this color. So I have a little bit of marker. And because I know these acrylics, thing with marker and acrylics, just so you know, is that if you get the wet acrylic on the marker, your marker's probably not gonna work. So when I do this, I'm just gonna be careful. So just a little tip for you there. So that you don't ruin markers like I have. And I'm going to try to get in here. And I don't really care that my lines aren't going to be straight. I am just interested in some lines. I like playing with line work. And to me, it really shows that a human was here. That's why I like lines that are kind of wobbly and not perfect. There was a human here. And somehow, whenever I draw the first line, I always am like, I don't know if I like that. But then if I follow up with other wobbly lines, it looks really intentional. So it feels a little bit more fun to me to do it that way. And then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna carefully, not getting into the acrylic, add it somewhere else. Just for a little extra spot of this bluey purple. And it's just wherever your intuition is calling that color in. Or that mark. Fun. Cool. One of the things that I like to do is place some different size marks in different places so that it kind of takes your eye around the page a little bit more. Fun. All right. So within the next minute or so, I'm going to ask you to pause. So finish up and kind of add in any more details that feel like they would feel really good to you. Maybe there's just some small marks that you want to make. Maybe you want to make a really big swath of marks. And remember, we're not judging what's kind of coming up or out today. We're just exploring. This is like exploring from the heart of non-judgment and just for the purpose of feeling better in your body and getting out of your head. And just wrapping up here for a moment. You can keep going after this video is all done, but right now we're gonna just take a moment to just create a few more marks and bring it to a close for a moment. And start to look around your piece and notice the things and the areas, without judgment. Like I say, every class, this is not about what anybody thinks about your artwork. It's about your experience with the artwork and that you experienced this. And are there parts of this? I bet if you look around, there's parts of this that you like. There's maybe some smaller color combinations that you're really enjoying. Some things that surprised you, or some places where you thought, I didn't think these colors would all look good together, but that surprised me. Maybe there's details that you did this time that feel really good to you. And you thought, oh man, I didn't do that last week when I was here, but this week it feels really nice to add in those small details. Or that bright yellow color. I really like that. Maybe there's things where you thought, I didn't think I would like the white background that I left in here, but I do. I think that's kind of nice, place of stillness. Are there surprises or things that didn't go the way? Maybe there's surprises didn't go the way that you thought that it would go, but it actually feels nice, or it felt like a moment where you felt a little out of control and that felt a little unnerving. But you kept going and you made it all the way here. Maybe you see some of your emotion from this week in the page. And, turn it around a few times and see what it looks like this way. You might notice things when you turn the page around that you didn't notice from a different direction, or the direction that you were working on it at first. And just take a few full deep breaths here. Releasing anything else that you want to release. Maybe there was an intention that you set in this piece that you're noticing, or something that you'd like to bring forward into this week where you thought, wow, for me, it's really sometimes when I use unexpected colors together, they actually turn out, I wouldn't pair these together, but they actually turned out nice in a way. They're unexpected and they're a little different than what I was thinking that they would be. But that was surprising. So maybe the intention is, for me, that sometimes things can happen unexpectedly and it doesn't go quite your way, but it turns out great. So take just a couple full deep breaths. Allow anything else that needs to release to just release here. Maybe even wiggle your jaw a little bit if that's feeling tight. That's a regular one for me, or your shoulders. And and just start to thank yourself for the fact that you showed up today. Well, that was so much fun, and thank you for showing up for yourself today. The wonderful thing about this practice is it really only takes 15 minutes to 30 minutes of making something, and we can start to feel that shift in the nervous system where we might have been all the way up in our head all day long or working on a computer screen, which really trips me out and gets me out of my body. But we can return to this practice over and over again to help regulate the nervous system, and we really don't need that much. The thing about this practice is it doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone around you, every single person. You showing up for yourself today means you showed up for everyone in your life. So thank you for doing that. We need all the regulated nervous systems that we can get in this world at this moment. So I hope you join me next week on Wednesday for another class. And thanks so much for being here today. Thank you so much. I'm sending you so much big love. I'll see you next time.